Welcome back to the McFlare and Jay's podcast. This is McFlare, also known
Hello.
as Jen, and I'm Jay, also known as Jason. Today, we're going to talk about Jen's cancer journey. So, how are you doing today, honey?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I am doing well.
Excellent.
It's good to be here with you.
As always,
It's
yes.
episode 2, so we're going to be probably putting these out once a week. So, anyways, Jen, why don't you take it over here and tell us about how you discovered this? And maybe you want to tell us a little bit about what predated it, too.
Thank you. So, as mentioned in our first podcast, not in much detail, in 2017, after a lifelong battle or struggle with type 1 diabetes, I had overdosed on aspirin for another condition that I had gotten, trigeminal neuralgia, which is a nerve disorder. But before I knew that that was it, I took a bunch of aspirin and basically went into respiratory and kidney failure. And so not long after that episode, self-inflicted harm, I started dialysis. And so I was at 2.5 years on dialysis leading up to these transplants in 2017. And when that happened, if you're familiar at all with organ transplant, you are assigned different immunosuppression drugs. And the idea for that is to make your system not reject somebody else's organs, even though it's a perfect match. So what that does is it reduces your ability to fight infection, virus, anything like that. So I was on immunosuppression. It took about 5 years until I really felt great and whatnot. But
Yeah, it's a long time, though.
it's a long time. And it, with that, there came a lot of other struggles. But fast forward to last September, I was in the shower and I was just washing as you do in the shower. And I felt a lump here. So, you're just washing and I'm like, wait a minute, what's this? And what's funny is I have a port, which most cancer patients have to get later. So I got mine in 2015.
That's correct.
And because my veins were so bad at the time, as I was prepping for dialysis, was like, you should get this. Once you have the transplants, you're really going to need it. And in hindsight, it was one of the best decisions I ever made at that time, leading up to the cancer. So it was September. I was in the shower. I felt a hard bump, and it was bone. Like I thought my breastplate shifted.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's really weird. Honest to God, cancer never crossed my mind because I don't know why, but I was not ever aware that a breast cancer tumor typically is hard as bone. And I've never known that. So a couple days later, I get in the shower again. Yes, that's right. Working from home, Anyway, I felt it again. I got a weird gut feeling and all right, I'm going to make an appointment. So I called my GP and got on her schedule, but not for 2 months. And honestly, I didn't even think, well, that's a long time. I didn't tell them, oh, I found something. So in hindsight, I would have changed that. They probably would have got me in much quicker and probably helped the cancer, progression and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Always, if you find something, don't put it off and don't assume it's nothing. But anyway.
Early detection is key.
Early detection is key. So I got into the appointment the week of Thanksgiving. So went all through the rest of September, October, and then the week of Thanksgiving, I go in to see my primary and she's like, what's going on? So I showed her it. She looked at it. I don't know if it's because I am so well versed in medical or practice or whatever, but I knew right away something was off. And she's like, we're going to get you in for a mammogram and hopefully we need to do an ultrasound and biopsy, though most of the time you may have to come back for that. And right then I was like, shit, is this breast cancer? They got me in to the mammogram, the ultrasound, and the biopsy like immediately. Like literally I walked out of her office and went down and had all three of those, which I go to the University of Minnesota Health Fairview group, and it just never happens that way. But
Yeah.
I will tell you this, and this is where having, I think, some experience with medical professionals, when I was getting up to leave to go to the rest of it, she put her hand on my shoulder and was like, I'm really glad you came in, Jen. I'm really glad you came in today. I just knew it was
Yeah.
serious. And I've never in all my medical experience had a doctor like touch me. Obviously they all touch you, but you know,
But in
like
that way.
in a compassionate way and look me in the eye and say, I'm really glad you came in today. So I knew. I was very grateful for that because it sort of gave me the heads up. So I didn't go into that mammogram, biopsy, ultrasound fearful. I already knew. Maybe the Holy Spirit just let me know because I actually function better that way. So remember, it's Tuesday of the week of Thanksgiving. You will find out by Friday at the latest. So I went home and told everybody I had breast cancer. Didn't know what kind, but everybody needs to know this. And I told them on that Tuesday because Thanksgiving's coming. And that's not something I wanted to share over dinner. It's not something I'm particularly thankful for. So I was like, hey, I got breast cancer. It sucks. And honestly, it seemed like most people took it worse than I did. Really.
Yeah, probably.
My mother, after Thanksgiving, didn't speak to me for 3 days. Actually, and I didn't find out on Wednesday. I found out on the Friday after Black Friday was Black Cancer Day for me. And I found out, and when I confirmed it with everybody, that it was triple negative breast cancer. So far, they didn't see it in the lymph nodes, so it hadn't spread, praise God. But after I had confirmed it and gotten the confirmation, I didn't hear from my mother for 3 days. I mean, she had been through the transplants, she had been through the dialysis along with Jason, both of those, but she had been through everything in my whole life with me, and I think she was just absolutely gobsmacked.
Absolutely. I would agree. Yeah. I think we all were. I mean, can't imagine we're all trying to imagine what the other person's feeling and thinking, you know.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard, but
Yeah.
I got a question. So you had mentioned on the breastbone part where it felt hard, and you didn't really think that it was a tumor. You felt something like you never would expect. The only reason why I'm bringing that up is that just kind of reiterate if someone felt that, it's like you said, early detection kind of thing.
I will say this. I don't know if I was just ignorant about the fact that tumors are hard as rock. I don't know why, when honestly, I had really little boobs anyway. And so I wasn't doing a whole lot of breast exams because they were so small. So women, girls, anybody, when you're checking yourself in self exams, you are looking for something hard for sure, because then you know it's already a tumor. And I assume it before that it grows, but I missed all of that. Literally one day it was there. The previous day when I showered, I did not feel it or notice it. By the time I did, you could see it.
Yeah, you could. You could see it.
You could see it. And again, I was pushing on it. And for, I think that might have been protection too, just not immediately thinking anything. It was weird. A couple of days later, I was like, this doesn't seem right. So I made the appointment and went in. And so after that diagnosis, the whole month of December was basically PET scans, EKGs, the whole gamut of tests and scans and everything else they do to try to get a better idea, to stage it, to number it. And we just prepped for it. And they had everything they needed on the medical side. We scheduled the first chemotherapy session, which was the day after Christmas. And
Yeah.
funny, it was going to be on the day of Christmas.
It was going to be, but they.
And then they're like, why don't we do the day after? And I'm like, well, thank you for giving me my last Christmas. So I drank. I had my Bailey's, whatever, my Tom and Jerry's, all the traditional patty foods. And so we did. We actually got to enjoy it. And I want to ask Jason.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just thought this might be kind of interesting. When you got diagnosed, and you might want to talk about this later, I don't know, but you did a lot of research on a lot of different things as the steps went on. And I thought it'd be a nice introduction to some of the stuff that you're going to share later on. So during all this stuff, with all of that going on, the doctor's appointments, the holiday, just going through it, the diagnosis, you did a lot of research that continued and still continues to this day. But I don't know why I really felt like that would be a nice thing to say there because of how much work that you actually were putting in on top of that during that time too, because it was pretty packed.
My in-depth research really didn't happen until I started chemo because I didn't want to get the negative. I learned that from experience. People tend to go out and they want to know what the life expectancy is of this cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to know what's worst case scenario. And if you're looking for that, you're going to get it. And I highly recommend not doing that prior to you really getting a feel for what you're up against, what the plan is. I highly discourage that because, for example, we have a friend who was diagnosed right after I was, like less than a month later. And so they were very supportive of me. But then when the wife got it, it was a different form of breast cancer. I don't want to say worse because I didn't experience that one, but different. The life expectancies were less than mine. And she had younger children. She was worried about she's not going to see them start high school. So I don't recommend doing any research until you know what kind of cancer, what stage it is, what number it is. Get the full diagnosis.
Get diagnosed first.
And that takes steps because first you got to make sure the heart's good. So that's the whole EKG shit. Then the PET scan is going to give you the most detail about the cancer. You won't even know what kind it is until you have the PET scan. I do not recommend going in right out of the gate when you know it's breast cancer.
Yeah.
Because there's multiple kinds.
Yeah, there's plenty. I mean, there's different kinds. You don't know exactly what it. And as anybody knows, if you go down that path and Google it, yeah, you're going to get an answer, but it's not specifically for you. So that's the thing. So what Jen's saying is absolutely the right way to go about it because so
it's
you
hard.
can find information, or if you do see it, maybe don't take that information as hard until you have everything kind of in front of you, until there's a diagnosis and a discussion and you looked into it more. Because out of the box, scary.
Horrifying. And you're always looking for the bad, I guess. I mean, I do. And the other thing is I tried to really refrain from looking into chemo because that's really where people suffer, you hear. From anybody that I've ever known to have it, that's the hard part. And you don't know what drugs you're on. There's a shit ton of drugs, chemo drugs, and each kind is used for different cases, different stages, pre-existing conditions, blah, blah, blah. And you just really don't want to start looking into all chemo side effects when the particular one you may be on doesn't have the same ones. And that's the other thing. They're all different.
And side effects affect everybody differently.
Exactly.
Than that. But we are going to get in next week.
We'll get into chemo next week.
We're going to go into that because there's some really good information that Jen found from effects from chemo to information she found going into it, which will play back into don't, look up everything until you've kind of searched it out and had your conversation with your doctors. And
yeah, that would just be my advice. You tend to get yourself in a hole that even if you are told this isn't applicable to your case, you've already read that. Oh, there's only a 57 chance of survival after 5 years. Somehow you can't shake those numbers and shake that, and you can't unlearn it or you can't unsee it, as they say. And I think it's just really, and spouses and people, that is really a important thing for you. You can't control what your people are doing, but really encourage them to stay off of the computer
Yes.
until you have all the facts.
Pretty much everybody that involved. You don't put the cart before the horse, as they say, because you just don't know. Everything's different. Everyone's unique. And you're going to hear more about how it gets a little bit more unique as it goes on with next week's show, because Jen's going to talk about that next step. And this is where it really starts kind of getting interesting, where information that got to me sounded very frightening, with some of the chemos and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I just asked that. I'd love to hear, when I told you, how did you feel?
It's one of those things that you're never prepared for it. It comes out of the blue no matter what, because you're just not prepared for it. You don't want to hear it. It leaves you scared, and it leaves you lonely because you think you're the only one dealing with it, because it's just information in your head. You have partners, you have family, you have friends, but it's a scary thought. The first thing you want to do is try to take it away from you, save you. Like, how can I make your favorite meal? It's going to make you feel better. And those small gestures aren't really what's changing it or making you feel better. It seems like your effort kind of gets a little lost, but it's not really what it's about. It's a lot to take in from everybody, for everybody, I should say. And for me, it was very, very sad, very confusing. If it wasn't for who you were and what you've been through and what we've been through, and the faith in Jesus, that was my holding ground. That's where I could kind of root myself, and we got to fight in this. It really has a lot to do with you and the faith of Jesus and just the faith in the medical teams and stuff like that. But it really is a scary thing. Personally, it's very isolating. It could just be me. That's fine. But I had a hard time communicating with some people because I was feeling a very confused and emotional state. So talking to people was a little weird. So it throws you into kind of a little bit of a turmoil. It's still something I'm dealing with because we're still always going to be going through things, but very scared, very, very sad, but try not let that get in, because that seems like that would be defeat of some sort. And it always is a little bit easier with Jen because you are so strong about everything that goes.
Poor Jason.
I know, but it happens.
I mean that because while I'm strong in all of this, I am bitchy and I am focused and I'm tenacious. And I really want to get a strategy. I want to execute that strategy with a perfect ideal ending. And if it doesn't go that way, or this isn't the right remedy to fix whatever this side effect is or whatever it might be, I get sad. And then out of the blue, it seems manic, but it's just like, I don't even know what to do with my own emotions. And talk about feeling alone. Obviously, I know I'm not the only one going through cancer. You can start to feel sorry for yourself because, well, I got these fucking transplants. I'm on the immunosuppression. Is it even going to work? It's such a fine line that they have to try to keep the immune system up enough to kill the cancer, but low enough to keep the organs in check. Yeah. What's worse, if the organs reject or if the cancer kills me? Either way, I'm dead. So do I even care? And then that can quickly spiral to just bitchy, crabby, just not even knowing how to process these feelings when that is not my area of expertise, because I just handle shit, Yeah. I just take care of it. And he's the recipient, him and my mother, Patio, is the recipient. When I can't figure shit out, they're going to hear it, or they get to experience my dark side, as I say, just angry.
But we all have that, though.
Depressed.
But and the vice versa, though, you feel my frustration when this stuff is going on too. I mean, which is terrible because she's the one that's suffering from it. But it's the relationship. It's just the stresses. It's the things that boil up and that happened. So, I mean, it does go back on you as well, from my perspective sometimes. But that's kind of what this journey is about, and this what we're talking about is because these are the things that we keep coming through. We come up, we have these, issues. They get stressed out. We fight with each other about it, but we work through them.
Yeah, at the end of the day, Jason is the only person that I want to help me navigate these things. Of course, everybody else counts, but as a partner, as a soulmate, as my best friend, as the spouse of my heart, even though we're divorced, he's the only person that I want to travel with me on this journey. And I will assume and hope so that that's reciprocal. And so you're going to have the good days and bad days with it. And
good and bad.
At that point, we already have a good feel for how each other operates.
Absolutely.
And when you're in the middle of a crisis, there's nobody else you want. Even sitting in silence. There were plenty of times during that month of December leading up to the chemo and all of that, that I just wanted him here. I just wanted somebody with me. And they didn't have to do anything or say anything,
Sometimes you just need somebody there. I'm assuming, because maybe this is how I feel if it were you. I'd want someone there, that would be someone that if I don't even need anything, but if that one thing that I just couldn't understand, you'd probably be the one to catch it and would be there to grab whatever those little things, the nuances that
make having that. And my heart goes out to all the people that don't have that. Through chemo, there were many people that didn't have anyone else. So my mom and I would try to say, how's it going? Because they've never had anyone with them. There was a lot of older folks that were at the end where they didn't have a spouse anymore. God rest their soul. So it's important that you find that person or those people to travel along with you especially during the diagnosis, because they are going to keep you grounded and not let your imagination fly, which it does. But
which is okay. You got to understand that however your emotions and how you feel about something at the time, they're natural. They come out. It's got to be something that's real enough to deal with it. So however it is, don't freak out. Moments pass and time can take some direction on that. I wanted to, do you want to do a daily devotional? So we're going to do this at the end of these.
This is something that I found, ironically, this book, Daily Grace book, that I found in the gift shop of the U of M hospital during the transplants. After I was able to walk around a little bit, Jason and I went down there, and on the next show, I'm going to show you something else special I got from that, ironically, from my transplant time. But this book, and I'll tell you, I've read this year to year to year.
Yeah.
This year, I've been more choppy. Obviously, this was a difficult year. But I'll tell you, this got me through a lot of my trauma. Some days I was like, oh, thank you. I needed to hear that today. So we thought we'd share that with you.
So this is today, and this book goes month by month, day by day. So this one actually is marked the 11th of August. And this one says, Christ cares for you. Isaiah 41:13. For I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, do not fear, I will help you. At times, the burden of life can seem quite overwhelming, and all the blessings you've received seem to have vanished. It might sound very courageous to state that you can handle everything that life throws at you on your own, but the spirit is broken and your ability to recover has diminished. You need a real and vital relationship with God to help you get through. Burden the anxiety with the new opportunity to grow in the presence of God. Holy Father, I am strengthened and inspired when I consider the great sacrifice of love that you have made for me. Amen.
Amen. We talked about when I felt that way.
Yeah.
When we all felt that way. So that's a perfect send-off for today.
It's a good send off, and this is a great book, uplifting positive things. You'll benefit.
Yes, you will.
We're gonna pick it up at chemo, right?
Yeah, we are. And maybe I'll start that show with how I got the name McFlare.
Yes, so I think we do want to hear that.
All right. Well, thank you for joining, and we look forward to speaking with you next time.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.